Okay. So welcome everyone. Can you guys hear me? I want to make sure you guys can hear me because sometimes you guys can't hear me. So I want to make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right, good. So I know Nancy Grace is on right now. I'm trying to find it. That's why I was a little late. So I apologize for being late, but I can't find it. The only thing it's on is a paid station. So you have to pay to watch her. I'm sorry, I'm not going to pay to watch Nancy Grace because she's a liar. So I'm not paying to watch her. Sorry. Hey, Amanda. And Fox Nation, you got to pay for it. It's like $5.99 a month. Sorry, not happening. Nancy Grace will be on YouTube in about an hour. Somebody will clip it. So there's just no way I would pay for that crap. It wasn't my accident. It was Sage's. I'm going to get to all that. So the reason why I wasn't around at all today, anywhere to be found, is because I got a phone call at 7 o'clock this morning that Sage was in a car accident and completely totaled the car. So, yeah, not good. She's okay. Her passenger is still in the hospital. He had a collapsed lung, which we believe came from the airbags in the seat. They both had seatbelts on. But, yeah, it was pretty scary. She's pretty shook. She's sleeping now, but she's pretty shook. And we're down a car now. That was my car we had for 11 years. And it was my favorite car. And I gave it to my daughter for 2 weeks. And boom, she's had her license less than a month. And she's already totaled a car. She is okay. Unfortunately, the accident was her fault, which makes it even worse. And it is what it is. You know, I'm glad that she's okay. I'm glad. I'm assuming she'll probably she'll probably be home tomorrow because I'm sure she's going to be in pain. She's got some, I wouldn't say bruising, but kind of bruising. Like when we went to the hospital today, like it looks like the seatbelt, she's so tall and thin, and so was Anthony, but it looked like she went up or something. But both airbags implode, whatever it is, and that's that. Can't be and live for her friend. Yeah, he's okay. What happened was, he was saying that his chest hurt, and his mom came there. I was there, and we said, well, you guys have to go to the hospital. And whether you want to or not, you got to get checked out. It was pretty bad. Deployed. Thank you. It was a pretty bad car accident. And you guys, need to get checked out. So they both went, we went separately. They both went. And then I was talking to his mom outside, and she said, he wants to get out of here. He wants to go home. And he ended up, he was being on a stretcher, and they opened up Sage's door, and then they could talk. And the mom said he has a collapsed lung. He's going for emergency surgery. And we were dumbfounded. So they took him for emergency surgery. They fixed it. And I guess it's kind of common. Ambulance was there, said they were fine. Ambulance was there when we got there and said they were fine, but even said he was fine. So they ended up going to they did emergency surgery. Then they transferred him to the same hospital Phoenix was in when he hurt his foot. And Sage got a full CAT scan, head scan, everything. And she was fine. And he ended up with this collapsed lung. But, once the surgery was done, he said that he could breathe much better. And then his mom, I ended up making his mom a full chicken Parmesan dinner and brought it up to the hospital with, special pasta and bacon. And she was so thrilled because she's a single mom of 4 kids. So she's going to be at the hospital all night. So I made enough food for the whole family. I brought it up there. She's like, oh my God, thank you. I said, believe me, it's the least I can do. This is like one of Sage's best friends. So I said, how's he doing? She said he's doing much better. Like, he's fine. He wants to go home already. They said that they actually said a collapsed lung is very common in tall, skinny kids. And like, because he's tall and thin. And they said when it comes to the airbags, that between airbags and seatbelts, that it's very common for kids to get a collapse, people to get a collapsed lung. So yeah, I made enough food for so much food. I made it really good, like spaghetti carbonara with chicken cutlet parmesan and cupcakes, and I was cooking all afternoon. Same thing happened to your brother. Yeah, I guess it's pretty common. So, I mean, I had no idea. I was like, wow, that sounds so serious and blah, blah, blah. But they actually said it was common, and especially in tall, skinny kids. And, I told her, I said, this is going to cost you a lot of money. And I said, I just want you to know you're going to be working to pay this off. I know that Progressive is going to give me shit for the car. She told the police everything that happened. She didn't get any tickets or anything. And I just can't believe another tragedy. In the first tragedy isn't even healed yet. He's not even completely healed. I was so happy she got a license and she could help me out with the driving and, driving Phoenix and driving him to school and picking up Dayton. And nope. Now I'm on my own. Back to square one, and now I'm minus a car. So I know Phoenix is not Phoenix. I know the insurance company is going to fuck me on my car because the car is 11 years old. And I've tried to look up book value, and you could sell it for like $9,000. But I have a feeling they're probably going to offer me $2,000, if that. And I'm going to cry. So hopefully, and then I looked up, and Progressive is in a lawsuit right now in New York, that somebody in New York, there's a class action lawsuit for the amount, how little the amount they give for totaled cars. I'm like, great, just great. So it's a big nightmare. It's fuck my life. And that's where I've been all day from 7:00 this morning. So if anybody wants to help out, there's ways to help out underneath. You can buy candles. You can PayPal. You can super chat. I really don't care, but any help is much appreciated because I'm going to have to replace a car and the deductibles and everything. And I'm just fucking freaked out. So because I liked having a second car and, I'm just fuck. That's how I feel. Just fuck. And the collapse lung inflated, and it's no surgery. So yeah, they gave him surgery. I don't know what kind of surgery, but they gave him surgery. My insurance supplies, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they pay more. We just put money into it. Thankfully, no more fault, but a poor new car was messed up. If it wasn't her fault, I'd be much more apt to feeling so horrible. But it was completely her fault. And what are you going to do? Like, I called my mom on the way there. I said, Mom, I don't know how to handle this. I want to hurt her. I want to put her through a roof, but I can't do that right now. And so everyone said, just give her a couple of days. Just give her a few days. Let her heal. And then you could yell at her. Oh, she admitted it was her fault. Completely admitted it. She told the police she admitted it. That's why I don't understand how she didn't get a ticket. Oh, she blew through a major intersection going about 55 miles an hour and went right through a red light. And an oncoming car that was turning hit her. She wasn't on her phone, but she looked, the light was green. She looked away and it was red. And she went right through it. So, and this is all in the police report. It's not like anybody can, say anything or do anything. It's all in the police report. So I don't know how she didn't get in trouble. I don't know. She's like, because I was hysterical. I said, they don't care you were hysterical. So I don't know if these people, the people she hit was a whole family. I said they could try to come after me. They're going to laugh when they see what I got, but, they're not getting much. But, I even told her friend's mom, here's my insurance info. No, my brother said it wouldn't, not with an accident. He said with an accident, it would happen. They would have to give you a ticket on site. Hey, Tinker, they would have to give you a ticket on site. So, well, here's the problem, Joy. I can't do that because she needs to drive. She has to drive. Like, that's the one thing I said. In a couple of days, you have to take a drive. You can't be afraid to drive. But I told the mom of her friend, like, here's my insurance information, make sure you contact them. She's like, no, thank you, sissy. If anything, I want to make sure, because she's a single mom like me. So she's like, if anything comes up, I don't want it to come on you at all. I said, no, but, he deserves, money. I mean, it's not his fault. He was just a passenger. And I told her, I said, this is going against your insurance, not mine. I was like, you are going to have to get your own insurance. Yeah, the people said they were fine. The EMT said they were fine. Talked to Joel Murray. And yeah, it's a mess. And like I said, I wouldn't even be thinking of my car if it wasn't her fault. But it is her fault. And that's why I'm so mad. But I'm glad she's fine. I mean, really, I am. And I told her, I said, odds are you're only going to be in one major accident your whole life. So hopefully this will be your one accident your whole life. Hopefully, and I've been driving 35 years, 35 years. I've never blown through a red light in my life. How do you do that at 16? And I go back to, you're not ready to drive. You're not responsible enough to handle a car. Like, thank God you guys are okay. Thank God the other person's okay. I exactly. Cars in general inventory is awful right now. I totally agree. Hopefully they don't. Well, that's what I said. There were 2 young kids in the car, and I don't, I know she shook all day, so we're not going to have like the talk yet. But you stress and stress and stress and stress how important it was. And, how important you have to look at a car. And then they do something like this and you're like, oh my God. Oh my God. I rolled a truck and spent 3 weeks in the hospital after a couple surgeries. And when I was released, my husband said we were stopping a body shop to look at a truck and he drove away and I had to drive it. That's the right thing to do. So 2 months for my 30th birthday, I never had a wreck. And of course, I totaled my car. It's crazy. I know about no cars and image. That's what I'm saying. Like, this was not a time to total it. I mean, it was a great car. We just spent like $500 to fix it. Literally spent like $500 to fix it. So it would be in like pristine condition. No, she wasn't texting. And then there was, I forgot the best part. And this is when I realized that she is not prepared for a car. So the car, and I'll show you guys all the pictures, but the car ended up on the other side of the road. So there was smoke coming out of the hood and from the vents on the inside. So Anthony said, dude, we need to get the fuck out of this car right now. So they grabbed their phones, they grabbed her purse, and they got out of the car and they went to the other side of the street. The problem is the car was still in drive and the key was still running because she panicked. They both panicked because they thought the car was going to blow up on the spot. Thank you, Sleuth. They thought it was going to blow up on the spot. But I can see forgetting to take the keys, but to forget to put the car in park and just leave, you're in a major intersection. You don't even know where the car is going to go. Maybe the car wasn't going to be in a dead stop. Like, it was totaled and it couldn't move. Yeah, the other people were fine. Their car didn't get as much damage as ours did. I think it's just the way that it hit, or from what I saw, it wasn't. And the EMT said they were fine, but the cops gave, my insurance and everything. But it was just so weird that why wouldn't you put it in park? That would be the first thing I think of, to put it in park. It is all an experience. So and thank God the car couldn't move. Thank God that car could have gone anywhere. And especially leaving, I know, and she's got a full license, Morgs. I said the same thing. And so I found this out after the hospital. And I said to her, I said, Sage, you're not prepared. I can understand maybe not turning a car off, but to not even put it in park, that's something you just don't panic on. That's kind of whacked. Thanks, Lioness. So, thank God that there was a motorcycle guy who happened to be an EMT. He drove by, saw them freaking out. She was having like this horrendous panic attack. He called the cops. He got in the car, put it in park, and turned it off. And then the smoke stopped. But that smoke kept coming. And I said there was smoke coming in on the inside. And she said yes. So all the wires were screwed. Like, it was pretty bad. Yeah, whacked. And I just, I thought to myself, this is why teenagers should not be driving. This is why 15 and 16 is too young. So, we called the place that towed it because I got to get stuff out of it. And he said, yeah, the car is totaled. I said, I know. So I went to the police station because I was worried that they were going to give her a ticket or whatever. And yeah, but would you remember to at least put it in park? I mean, if it was smoking, think about it, Denise. If it was smoking, you would at least put it in park so it didn't go anywhere. And she didn't. She just left it running and left it in park. I mean, left it in drive and just ran out of the car. So I understand you're a little scared, but come on now. I did the same thing when I was 16. I remember being in flight mode because the car was smoking. I thought it was going to blow up as well. Well, that's what I figured. The car wasn't moving anywhere, but I think she's too young. And I'm sorry, but 15 to get your permit and 16 for a full license is just too young. And I just don't think they're mature enough to handle it. And I think I was proven right. They're not mature enough to handle it. Because you don't leave a car in park. I mean, you don't leave a car in drive. So, but I understand she would, they were freaking out. She was in a panic mode. She was in panic attack. And she couldn't calm down. I got there. Her boyfriend was there. Friends were there. His girlfriend was there. Then his mom came. It's just really scary. She was in shock. And I can imagine seeing smoke come out of the front. But as soon as you turn the car off, the smoke stopped. But yeah, it was crazy. You went through this with your two daughters? Yeah, now I'm even more paranoid of Phoenix driving. And she's a good driver. She drives slow. She's not a, speeder. Some of her friends are speeders. And then, so we're at the hospital and they're like, we have to do a pregnancy test. I was like, why don't you just make my day today? Let's find out she's pregnant. I mean, I was so laughing. I was like, that'll just make my day perfect. But thank God she wasn't. Smoke for no, I don't know, but it was pretty bad. I'll show you guys the pictures. Hold on. And then I'll get into the other stuff. I just want to let you guys know what happened. Because some people ask, what happened to you? All right. So this is the driver's side. Another one of the driver's side. That's her side, which isn't too bad. That's the passenger side, which also cracked the windshield. But you can see all these wires hanging. I'm sure that's where the smoke came from. I mean, the whole thing just buckled. And then you can see the windshield broke, and the windshield break starts right here. Yeah, it's done. I mean, you can see it's crushed all the way to the engine. The oil is right here. And all this is probably oil. I didn't even notice that when I was, but you can see this is all wet. So there's some kind of wetness. Both airbags imploded. She said hers didn't go all the way. His did. You can see that's his embed. The seatbelt was on. Very proud of them for wearing the seatbelt. And that's another one. Brand new tires, everything. I have your video playing on. I know she's going to be sore. Have your video playing on my TV and my phone so I can comment. I don't know. It could be antifreeze. It very well might be antifreeze. But yeah, it's totaled. Thank God nobody got hurt. I agree. Frame is bent to hell and back, 100%. And yeah, there's not even a point trying to fix it. It's done. So, see, but Irish Gal, I would have a different mentality if it wasn't her fault. I would have a completely different mentality. But I'm mad because it was her fault and it was avoidable. Hey, Angelique. And the fact that she did this when she's had her license less than a month is just crazy. Yeah, I have full coverage. But the car isn't worth anything. It's a 2010 Kia Soul. I'm lucky if we can squeeze $3,000 out of them. And it's like I said, if we get $3,000 for it, I'll be thrilled. But I've had the car 11 years, and the car had sentimental value to me. It wasn't just a car. That was like, it was my baby. So I'm glad she's okay too. And I hope she learned a lesson. I really do. I really hope she learned a lesson. I want her to come see it with me because she hasn't really looked at it. But I want her to see how dangerous a car is. I know I probably won't get that, Denise. I'm just hoping. I mean, these are brand new tires, like literally brand new tires. Oh, I have another car, Lindsay, and yeah, she's going to have to drive my car sometime this week. Obviously, I'm going to be with her. I know they usually don't give much. And like I said, I just found out that they're in this lawsuit. That Progressive is being sued in this class action lawsuit about not paying enough for totaled cars. So, yeah, they offer me, I told my mom, if they offer me $1,000, I'm going to fucking tell them to shove it. Isn't this the car you referenced in your live about the series made? Probably. This was my backup car. This was my car that was my escape from Brad. And yeah. Ugh. When I spun around on a wet road during crush. Yeah, these are brand new tires. Like these tires maybe have 500 miles on them. Maybe. I hope she does realize it. I really do. And I hope she realizes that a car is not a toy. I did, Joy. I got everything from 1,000 to 3,000. I don't know if I can keep this. Well, this tire, I believe, is probably ruined, but I am going to look at the other tires. That's why I'm going to talk to the insurance company, because if they only offer me like 1,000, yeah, I'm keeping the tires and selling them. 3 cars between 16. Oh my God, Irish gal, I think I'd cry. I would absolutely cry. So I'm going to file a claim for bad faith if they offer too little. I'm telling you, but I don't know if that's going to have to do with an accident. My dad bought it. Yeah, Kim. I said that to her today too. I said, Grandpa bought me this car. And it did. It had so much sentimental value. And, like I said, if it wasn't for her, you'll have to buy the car to get the tires. Yeah. I didn't know if I liked you before. Now I like you. More parents need to hold their kids accountable and be honest with themselves. She will. I hope she learns. I really hope she learns. And yeah, and that's it. Baby girl got into a first major wreck. That's what I'm saying, Candy Bar. This is the worst summer ever. My kids are having the worst luck. Yeah, she went to the hospital. She's okay. The passenger is still in the hospital. But because of COVID, we couldn't even go. So I just brought all the food there. Cousin Aunt drove van and all the girls drove that when they got their license. I'm telling you, the next car is a truck. I was pissed, not her. See, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't her fault. Was her fault. And that's why, like, if it wasn't her fault, I would give her all the money for the car. I would do whatever I had to do. But this was her fault. She's on her own. I told her that. You're on your own. Sorry. Well, she has to drive my car. My car is not new. My car is 2008. My car is older than this one. But yeah. Reading Little Warriors, all this crap that I'm telling you, Candy Bar. You're right. It just doesn't stop. It's just been a bad summer. And then Dayton went to get sneakers tonight, and he's like, he wants like these $120 sneakers. I said, your sister just totaled a car. I'm not spending over $100 for sneakers. We're going to have to stick in the $40, $50, $60 range. Of course, I ended up spending $70, but at least he got sneakers. She is going to continue driving, but it's not going to be for a while because she's going to have to get her own insurance. Once this is all cleared up, she's going to have to get her own car, which I refuse to help her on, because maybe if she pays for it this time, she will be more careful because it's her money. It's not mom gave her a car. So, you know how kids are. It's, her iPhone 11, she bought, and she doesn't even have one little scratch on it because it's her money. And that's why I think if she buys her own car, she will take care of it better. And maybe she'll think twice. So hopefully she'll be okay and, mentally. She can get her own insurance here. The accident is my daughter's fault. Correct. She blew through a red light at an intersection. Correct. And I told him to sue my insurance. She didn't fly through a red light. She was going speed limit. So, and that's it. That's what happened. But again, thankfully she's okay. Thankfully he's okay. And that's it. I was about 17 on the accident, not my fault, but the passenger sued my insurance company. That's what I said. See, Joy, I'm telling you, that's why I told her. No, it was normally a busy intersection. No, not my convertible, my old car. Normally it is a thank you, Random Thoughts. Normally it is a busy intersection, but this was like 7:00 in the morning. So it was pretty empty. I didn't even know she was out. But she went to go pick up a friend, and they were 10 minutes away from the house, and boom. I totally agree, Joy. And let's hope the blessing is a lesson learned. So I blame Carol Baskin too, 150%. I mean, the good thing about the car is I'm going to tell them, if they piece it out, it's got a lot of brand new things that we just put on it, including the tires. So I'm hoping that gives a little more money. Light was probably changed. She didn't know whether, no. Well, I think she did panic, but she looked at the light. It was green. She was going about 50 miles an hour. She looked down for a second and looked up, and the light was red, and she went right through it. Oh, that car has been paid off for a long time. The Kia was bought with cash. I never even had a payment on it. We just added my son to our insurance. Otherwise, insurance would be around $3,000. Yeah, I checked insurance for her, and it was actually not too bad. But the good thing is Progressive has accident forgiveness. Like if you have one accident, but you haven't had an accident in years. I wouldn't say I never had an accident with Progressive. I had one in 2012, which totally wasn't my fault. So I think I'm all right. I don't think insurance is going to skyrocket, but you never know. This could happen to any new driver. I totally agree with that, Harper. It's a teen thing. And let's just hope she learned and nothing happened. We didn't see the ones that she hit. I made dinner for the passenger, his family. I was going to buy dinner, and then she said, no, just make it. Okay. Easier. I made dinner for my kids and just I should have taken pictures of it. It looked really good. But Harper, I agree. It could happen to anybody. And it just sucks. It totally sucks. So, all right, let's get into the conspiracy. I'm also, by the way, I promised everybody candles and crime tonight, but I haven't had a chance to change the prices, but I'm knocking $5 off each candle, which being that I'm paying for shipping, it's a lot. So, but I am knocking $5 off signature candles. I'm knocking $5 off horoscope candles, and I'm going to do it right now. Hold on. So we're going to call this conspiracy. And can we ask a BL question? Yes, we're going to get to that topic now. But I am, in fact, the craze caller. I know you are, Lindsay. I knew you were. You're not a craze caller. I was telling people, I was like, I just got the weirdest phone call, but it was really funny. And you're not a craze caller. Okay, give me one moment. I'm going to do it. Oh, I'm pissed at Kim. Pissed. You have no idea. But I'm remaining calm because I am glad she's okay. All right. Products. And tomorrow, I will let you guys check my community page tomorrow because there is a huge YouTube creator who's got over 500,000 subs who's going to be doing an unboxing tomorrow. And I'm pretty psyched about it. I will let you guys know as soon as I get the final word of what time he's going to be doing it. And I'm excited for that. I just found out tonight. All right. All right. Signature candles. I knocked down 4. Luxury candles. I'm going to knock down 6. Oh, Elle, I got to show you guys something. Speaking of Fruit Loops, Wax melts, I'm going to knock down 5. Hold on. Actually, you know what? Wax melts are too high. I had to change wax melts because wax melts are actually, you're getting 4. Hold on. I gotta update this. I really do. Astrology, I can't go any lower. All right, Fruit Loops candle, I'm gonna knock down 7. Because now I'm making my own Fruit Loops. So I can take it down. Before I was paying for it. And then okay. And then Molly, Robbie, Corey, I can knock those down to 25. So I'll knock 4 off those. Now remember, these prices include shipping. I'm no longer charging for shipping. So this is total cost minus taxes. Harper, a lot of people have told me they get headaches and they don't get any from my candles. All right. So I knocked off between $4 and $7 for each candle. And that's it. Oh, wait. Drama Horrors, I can knock off 5 to make it 20. All right. So I want to show you guys something. Hold on. Oh, man, my camera's not working. Fuck me. Hold on. Oh, I know why. Hold on. Man, it's still not working. Darn it. All right, my camera's not working. Shit. So I have to show you the plate. Hang on. But I have this huge bag of Fruit Loops that I made. And they're awesome. I wish I could tell you guys. This sale is Candles and Crime. So it's like for tonight. But also, if you're worried about price, I now have Sizzle, and you can make a payment. Even if you bought 1 candle, you can make a payment in 4 payments. So like a $25 candle would only cost you like $6 each payment. And that's all worked out with them. So that's a good thing. I know. I could take a picture of it. I don't know how else to show it. Oh, you know what? Let me try this. Hold on. I got an idea. 4 easy payments. Everyone gets a payment option. Correct. Let's see if this works. All right, this does work. Me and my brilliant ideas. Um, all right. This is kind of an idea. Kind of works. All right. So I made all these Fruit Loops Friday night. I got this monster bag of Fruit Loops. Can't really see the colors too well. I spent like 5 hours making Fruit Loops. So I got this huge bag that I made. And that's my Fruit Loops. So now I can charge less for the Fruit Loops because I'm making them myself. And these are all 100% soy. And yeah. And the bag smells so good. I told my car shut off, didn't move, wasn't in park. Don't they look good? I'm so proud of myself. All right. I know. They're all the hemp cocoa soy, and I got all different colors. And the same molds, I'm going to make like mini donuts because you can make mini donuts too. And it's the same mold. So I think I'm going to use that as well. But I love them. I'm so proud of myself. I mean, it took me hours to do like 3 pounds of them. But I was like, I'm going to sell them. I was like, I did good. So, all right, hold on one second. Let me put these away. All right. So let's get into it. Okay. Let me just say, while I was cleaning up, because, you know, when you cook a big dinner, then you got to clean it all up. So after we got back from the hospital, I was cleaning up. I saw someone was live. I said, oh, let me just listen to it. Get my head out of, you know, my car, Sage, everything else. And you guys, most of you guys know who I'm listening to. I know Lindsay does. So I took some notes that I could take, but it was more towards after me and Lindsay had a conversation. It was after that I'm getting into the BL stuff now. So, all right, here's what I remember from the conversation. And let me just put it like this. I'm not going to sit here and down anybody's opinion. I am not going to sit here and act like, you know, I know everything and somebody else knows nothing. I've learned from people that I can't do that, so I'm not going to do that. But here's what I am going to say. I heard tonight somebody say that Stephen Bertolino is a truck driver. That is completely false. Stephen Bertolino is a full-time attorney in East Islip. He has an office in East Islip. I don't know where this rumor came from that he was a truck driver, but that is one of the craziest things I ever heard. He's not a truck driver. He is a bona fide attorney. You can look up his attorney status. You can look up his lawyer number. He is a bona fide attorney with a law office in East Islip, which is on Long Island. It's Suffolk County, Long Island. So that was one thing. Somebody else heard, or same person had stated that the lawyer was fighting to get the reward money for the laundries. That is completely false. Bertolino has never tried to fight to get the money. I don't know where some of these things stem from. I don't know where people are coming up with this crap, but it's completely false. It may have been the same person. Thanks, Elle. It may have been the same person that came up with the fact that, that Bertolino's a truck driver. Completely false info. Completely false. Like I said, I don't even know where some of this stuff stemmed from or started from, but that's complete ludicrous. It's some of the craziest shit I ever heard. I think they were looking a guy who had the same name. I absolutely agree with you. Yeah, he's a full-time attorney. That has not changed. Yeah, he does not drive a truck. He's a full-time attorney. So, and then when she said that he was fighting for the money, now I was one of the first people to say that money should go to the Laura. I believe everything. Oh, thanks, Kim. But don't believe everything I say. You have to look at logic. You have to look at, certain things, and that's how you make a decision. But certain things I do know about. There's the Laundries didn't find Brian. So, and they certainly didn't find Brian alive. So to say that the lawyer was fighting for money, it is ludicrous. At no point was Bertolino fighting to get the money. And if he was, it wasn't made public. So I don't think anybody was calling Bertolino. But what I was saying is I was one of the first people to say that money should go to it should go to the Gabby Petito Foundation. Absolutely. Even before Brian was found, I said that. But yeah, Bertolino was not fighting to get the parents' money. Here's one thing I don't understand, and me and some of the Patreons have discussed this. What is the point of this water bottle? Brian has been found. Brian is dead. I hate to put it like that, but Brian is dead as a doornail. He's bones. There's nothing else. He's bones. What if they found a water bottle that belonged to Gabby? And why would the police care? They already found him. There's no point in putting it anywhere else. They found him already. So they don't care if there's a water bottle that belongs to him. Why would they care? So, and I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm saying that I want to know what the point is. Why do they care if hold on, I want to put you guys back up on YouTube. Why do they care if Brian Laundrie, if it's a bottle? I just don't know why it matters. That's the part that I'm having a hard time understanding. And what's the big deal? So I can see why the police didn't want it. I want somebody to explain to me, hey, Purple One, I want someone to explain to me the reason why they're still looking for stuff. The only reason would be if death was unknown to test what had been inside the water bottle. I think they know that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. And I agree with that too, Unlabeled. I said that too. That if it is her water bottle, send it to the Petitos. Why are you trying to give it to the police? Just give it to the Petitos. You don't mail it to them. Say, hey, I got something I'm going to ship to you, and send it to them. If you believe it's Gabby's, I'm sure they would love it. So that's the part I don't totally understand of why they're doing it. Like, why are you focusing on stuff? It's done. The case is over. In my opinion, I mean, I understand people want to keep it going, but I'm not saying that they're right or wrong. I just want to know the logic behind it, because what I'm not hearing is logic. I'm hearing they want this case not to end, but I'm just not hearing the logic behind it. And that's what I call out. I want to hear the logic behind it. Hey, Anita. If I found the water bottle, I would think it's insane that I was the one who found it, but I wouldn't want to get my pitchfork out with the police don't care. It's like all the people that went out to where Gabby's body was found. Curiosity seekers, basically. Okay, that I can understand, Everlaw. That I can get. Speaking of that, I will say this much too. They had said that I heard tonight as well that Brian, the smell was so bad. And I believe that. But if the smell was so bad, I think the cops would have found it to begin with. But they have stated over and over the reason why the cops were not there is because they couldn't get to that spot. This is the one part that people are totally forgetting. If they can't get to a spot, they didn't look there. They already stated they didn't look there because it was underwater. I know that it did rain a lot and it would be underwater, but the logic behind the theory that somebody planted Brian's body or somebody planted bones, to me, is insane. They would have no reason to. Then I heard, which is when Lindsay called me, but then I heard the most unrealistic thing I think I ever heard in this whole case. And that was, and I'm not downing anyone, but this crazy person, crazy thought, actually turned around and said, I'm going to get to that in a minute, Sherry, actually turned around and said that Brian is in witness protection and that the FBI was feeding, literally said the FBI was feeding information to the public because they needed something. Okay, that is ludicrous. The FBI does not give a flying fupa what the public thinks. We're not up for election. If we were up for election and I'm running for president, then the parents are going, then the FBI might, worry about my politics. But the FBI does not care what Jonathan Lee Riches thinks. The FBI does not care what Molly thinks. The FBI does not give a flying fupa what I think, or you, or anybody else for that matter. They do not live for the public. Only cops locally during election care about the public because the public votes for them. The public does not vote for the FBI. So the FBI does not care what happens to the public or what the public knows or doesn't know. So I think that, I'm not going to call that dumb, but I think that was a big misunderstanding of how the FBI works or what a flappy fupa, flying fupa. But I think people are just misunderstood and don't know how the FBI actually works. We don't elect the FBI. So they just don't care what happens with us. They really don't give a flying fupa. So that's first. Second of all, then I went on to hear that Brian was in a witness protection program because I said flying. So flappy sounds gross. So I agree, Lucy. So then I hear that Brian's in a witness protection program, which is even more ludicrous. And here's the logic of why it's ludicrous. Brian murdered somebody and they know it. Well, I shouldn't even say that. That's jumping the gun. The FBI believes Brian is the sole person of interest in a manual strangulation of a 23-year-old beautiful young girl who took America by storm, okay? And is America's sweetheart. And everybody loved, I know, right, Monica? And everybody loves Gabby. Even if Gabby was this horrible person, she's been put on a pedestal that she is America's sweetheart. So why would you think, or where is the logic behind to think that Brian is being protected by the FBI? Why? Show me the logic. Because they could never, ever, ever in 1,000 years, they could never arrest him again. There is no reason to protect him. He's a wanted fugitive. They spent millions of dollars trying to find this man in the same reserve that they started on. Did they make mistakes? Absolutely. Did they screw up? Absolutely. Did they allow Brian to leave? Yes, they did. But you know what? They didn't put him in witness protection. I can completely back that statement up with is just logic. His parents are in the Illumina and the FBI works. There you go. C.S. Luth, ding, ding, ding. There you go. I'm going to go with that. Totally going to go with that. I'm even going to highlight that. I'm surprised that has not been said yet. I'm not lying either. I'm really surprised that has not been said yet. Definitely it's text from Diana's hiding him. Yeah, Diane's hiding him. I'm waiting for it too, for real. I'm pretty sure it's probably been said already. No joke. I can totally see it being said already. And I see I got some PayPals. I want to thank you guys for the PayPals. Much, much appreciated. Your opinion makes no sense, and you guys are the epitome of armchair detective. Then you are an idiot because I make perfect sense. So I'm sorry you're an idiot. And believe people get addicted to turning on their phones and wanting to be a part of some. I saw some of the comments that subs were sad that it was over. See, Johnny, that's weird to me. It is. That's strange to me. I knew he was either far away or deceased in the reserve. Yeah, I believe the cops knew he was deceased from jump, too. So, what hound story? Maybe in Winster's basement with the Christmas presents. There you go. I agree with that. In Wendy's basement. It's over people need a new case. And I agree with that. So I didn't know if he was dead. I wasn't sure if he was dead or not. I knew that the FBI were looking in there for a reason, but it didn't hit me till later that they probably knew he was dead all along, which is something that I didn't even really think of. I think they're sad because they were going for answers, but like you said, look at the Chris says case. Chris Watts case? On another channel about DNA, not my. Oh my God. I can't, Lindsay. Okay, Sherry, as far as the gun goes, when Molly was originally there, Molly said that there was a gun found next to him, and then they changed it. I do believe you don't change a gun. I'm waiting for that to come out because I really am 100% convinced that she wasn't lying about that there really was a gun reported. They just don't want that out yet. Someone is telling MGL that Fox News just reported no deal. Oh my God, I can't. People still talking about CW and it's been 3 years. BL will probably be the same. I know, but there's just not enough to talk about. There's just not. So missing without a trace, dead was the only logical option. Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. So then it went on to, hold up. I believe he died that first night. I don't even think there was a chance. I really believe he died that first night. I think he went out there and he killed himself. Done. So 300% sure he's alive. And let me tell you something else, and I mean this. I would so much rather have 50 people in here that had a brain than 1,200 people that can't even think, that come up with the craziest conspiracy theories. I would so much rather literally rather have 10 people in here that have a brain than 2,000 with these crazy ass conspiracy theories. Sorry, not sorry. So then I heard, hold on, let me get my notes back up. Lawyer. Okay. The police, this was another thing I heard. I heard that the police told them to come looking for them or they're going to. Okay, I don't believe that, Red Roadrunner. Fox News lies and they're feeding into the conspiracy theories. I don't believe that at all. When I hear that from a reputable news source, I'll believe it. The FBI would have put it out already. So I'm not buying that. They've already done preliminary tests for the DNA. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Sorry, just not. You can run with that. I'm not buying it. Exactly. The police. Okay, they said that the police told them to come looking for them. That's not true. The police never, or like, I think it was said that if the police come looking for them, then they're going to charge them with something. That's ludicrous because Brian wasn't charged with anything. So there's no way the police told them that with all their equipment and everything else. Yeah, not buying it at all. True Crime Channel put out today that they couldn't determine the cause of death. I saw no confirmation of that anywhere. There's a lot of sensationalism, guys. People are going for views. Like I said, and I said this to Lindsay, you will never see me trade my intelligence, my integrity, or anything for views. Not going to happen. I know Nancy Grace lies, so I don't care what the bitch says. She's a liar. And she's a sensationalism reporter and doesn't use facts. How do I know this? She did this shit with with Making a Murderer. She did it with Stephen Avery and said that Stephen Avery was lied to, that Stephen Avery told her he did it. Complete bullshit. She said it on Dr. Phil. After that, I take nothing she says serious. The only thing I was confused about was his partial skeletal remains. Okay, thank you. I can't find anything anywhere that says the DNA doesn't match. We're officially in crazy town. We don't believe scientists. Oh, we believe scientists. I believe scientists. And subject matter experts with decades of experience. We believe strangers on YouTube and no connection to the case. Thank you. Perfect. Where's that comment? I gotta highlight that. Absolutely agree with that. Nancy Grace disgusting, uses footage without permission. That was a collective of we, not I know what you meant. Will this ever end? Poor family Gabby will never get peace. No, she won't. They won't. Because of these crazy conspiracies. Parents paid a dentist to use. Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that, Lucy's wife. Thank you. Totally forgot about that. They have dental records. There's nothing with DNA. They have dental records. They match dental records. They know it's him. So try again, liars. You're not going to do this conspiracy shit with me. It's not. I don't run with something. As you can see, I got 5 people that automatically went to look for it. It's insane. Cause of death can take a very long time. I agree, but they compare dental records. Dental records don't lie. So this whole DNA shit is bullshit. But carry on. Take it to somewhere else because it won't fly here. And again, like I said, I'd rather have 50 people than run with 150 that are bullshit. I'll believe when the FBI says it's true, exactly. But they already know it's him because they have dental records. And like Lucy said, the parents paid a dentist to use another person's dental records, and then Brian's parents lured that person to the reserve, killed him so the dental records would match. Gotcha. The guy is dead. He couldn't deal with what he had done, and he's gone. 100% agree. Okay, found it, and what these people take Fox out of context. What they are saying is they haven't done a DNA match yet. Dental does match and waiting for DNA match. Christy, isn't it amazing how people change shit? Isn't that crazy? So Christy found it, and what these people are saying are completely out of context. The real thing that Fox says is that they didn't get a DNA match yet, that dental does match, and they're waiting for the DNA match. Because mind you, it's only bones. So maybe that takes a little longer, but they already proved it by dental. I mean, if I'll believe the skull doesn't match when FBI says, no, it does match. Their dental records match. So maybe they just knocked out Brian's teeth. So thank you, Christy, for clearing that up. Yeah, Christy, do you have a link? Or can you tell me where you found it? People are cuckoo. I like Lucy's answer the best. It was a great answer. Thank you, Sleuth. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. So, got another thing that I heard. I know, when in doubt, go for Google. The coroner has already certified the body is Brian Laundrie's. Yes, he did. I thought my Illumina, your sleuth, it was right up there too. I'll give you that much. It was right up there. Okay. All right, let's talk about this ridiculous letter. As I said from day one, this letter is fake as fuck. I don't want to say who particularly wrote it, but this letter is fake. There's no letter that was released to his parents. There's no letter that was released anywhere. It's a lie. Nothing has been released. Nothing was taken out of the notebook. There's no suicide letter that was accidentally leaked to Jonathan Lee Riches or anybody else for that matter. Yeah, sorry, not sorry. Complete fabrication, looking for attention. Next, there was somebody that made a comment in chat, a ding dong ditty, that says there is science to decomposition. Actually learn about it before making false statements. That happened to have been timed out, I believe, or that person was hidden. I absolutely agree with that statement. Audra, the girl that was on panel, she was 100% right when she said it takes 9 days, because that's what I read too, that it only takes 9 days for a body in that heat to disintegrate. And that's exactly what happened. Thank you, Gina. You have to stay on facts, especially in true crime. And then Anonymous said, I bet Gabby has tears in heaven for, oh no, that's not the one. That's all I got. That's all I actually wrote down. Playing into every chat comment with guests when on, no offense, but I will only do facts, Candy. Which if he kills himself on the 13th, Boars come out at dark on. Yeah, I think he was eaten. I do. I think he was chewed up. Molly Golightly. Like the person who's seen BL on the Appalachian Trail, BL would never have had a conversation. I totally agree with that. Molly Golightly, Gina, is the YouTube channel. And I'm just dumbfounded. I really am. I'm completely dumbfounded that some of these comments were being made. What's with the rope thing going around? Allegedly, I don't know who found it. I don't know if it was Jonathan Lee Riches, Audra. I think it was Jonathan Lee Riches found a, yes, Anita, found a rope that they believe he hung himself from. Okay. That's not going to happen, because if he hung himself, guess what? He's going to still be there. He wouldn't be underwater if he hung himself. So that to me was ludicrous. That rope was for a swing, like a tire swing. Yeah, I only heard that secondhand, so I can't say specifically. And let me also stress, everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody does. Everyone has a right to have an opinion about a case or anything else. I'm not the end all be all. I will never be the end all be all. I want to respect other people's opinions. But on my channel, I can't speak for anyone else, but on my channel, I would rather have 10 people in here that want to hear actual facts and only want to look at different theories based on the facts, verifiable facts, other than some crazy conspiracy theories like he's, in a time machine or buried in a garden in front of the house or in the back of the house when there's cameras all over. I can't do those. I just can't. So I'm just one. I have to do facts. And I would, like I said, I would rather surround myself with 20 people. I mean, 20 is a little low. We'll say 100. With 100 people that also want to know facts and, talk about the facts of the case, than saying that their lawyer is a truck driver. I'm sorry, I can't. I just can't do it. So, and it frustrates me that when it goes there, it really does. I am all about the facts. 20, if one of them is me. There you go, Baba. If that Moab footage wouldn't have been released, I don't think people would be as invested, because we've seen firsthand for over an hour a glimpse of what two of them were going through. Yes. But I got to tell you guys, and I know a lot of you guys in here, like Elle and Baba, you guys agreed with him. I've been thinking a lot about Joe Murray's theory, and I try to put myself in the way he's thinking. And I got to be honest, it does make sense. And I understand from a cop and an attorney perspective why he thinks that way. But it does make sense. Whether people want to realize it or not, it does. He was never charged. Right, Sherry? That's what my brother said. I'm good with listening to any thoughts. Yeah, there's a guy that I joined his membership. He's actually a pastor. Good guy too. But I was on panel a couple times. His name is Tyler Feller. I wasn't going to announce it at first, but now I can, because I think he's going to go back to his Christian thing. But yes, I joined a Christian channel, and he's really good, actually. I liked him. And he has taught me, watching him, he has taught me to, take other people's opinions, take other people's, not bash somebody for their opinions, not bash somebody for, I know, right, Lucy? Not bash someone for their opinions. And objectivity. Oh, this new saying, objectivity over subjectivity. I agree. Oh, you heard him, Sleuth? And I actually like him. I will eat a crow. You heard it here first. I'll eat a second crow with you, Lindsay. His name is Tyler Feller. He was a very, very small pastor who didn't even get 1,000 views. For some reason, took off with this case and now gets like 100,000 views. But he's got a good perspective. I actually like him. And I was shocked. I went on his panel a couple times. I didn't curse at all. He's a really good guy. But he has taught me how to, if you notice, my cursing is less, but how to really just take other people's opinions and not bash somebody or call them dumb or anything else for their opinions. So I did that. And I've been doing that. So that's why I'm trying to change my attitude, kind of, hey, well, and not bash people for their opinions. However, I do have to still realize that opinions based on facts are great. Opinions based on fabrication, I can't do. See a sleuth, it's not just me. Listening to him made me want to improve myself and improve how I deal with people's opinions. Thank you. I've been listening to him as well. Well, you don't agree with my opinion. I love you, Texas. That's a good thing to learn. I agree. I just can't. That's what I'm saying. You know, that's why I said I can totally get with other people's opinions. I don't want everyone to agree with me. Not everyone has to agree with me. But you got to have, let me get you the link, but you got to have some level of, like, not ridiculousness. Here's his channel. He's got a book. Okay. Shall be sharing your guy phone? What do you mean? What are you talking about, Hound? Are they saying the skull is not a DNA match to BL? Can we pause for a second? I like you like a fat boy loves food. Sweet. Hounds, what are you talking about? Oh, you found me on Tyler? See, there you go, Jamsey. I have no idea, Johnny. I just looked. I can't. It's ludicrous. But Hounds, what are you talking about? I laugh at the conspiracy theories and move on, but at the same time, I think they can get out of hand and are insulting to the victims. I totally agree with that too. I had to go and take a goody powder, that damn tooth. If you want to see the DNA mess, it's all over Twitter. Type Brian Laundrie DNA match. Click latest. All right, let me do that now. Hold on. Okay. They're reporting on the TV skull. Oh my God. They are kidding, right? So it says they're reporting on TV the skull of Brian Laundrie does not match his DNA, only the teeth. So the skull is not his, but the teeth are. Do you think the parents planted some of Brian's teeth in with his personal items when the water receded? Like, what's going on? This is the dumbest thing I ever heard. Town, share what friend? I don't know what you're talking about. You mean Tyler? I don't know who you're talking about, Hounds. Not believing until the anthropologist gives his report. I think they're interpreting it. They are reading it wrong. Okay. If the DNA taken from the skull did not match Brian Laundrie, why then are the remains being given to his parents so that they can cremate him instead of giving him a proper funeral? They should not be given the remains until, I'm not sure. Hey, Joe. Joe, you're here in the nick of time. I've been refuting conspiracy theories. I heard his teeth were screwed in somebody else's body. There you go. Yeah, the head is not the teeth is. This is crazy. Oh my God. Gabby's parents must demand a Brian Laundrie DNA analysis match. Dental records can be faked in several ways. Are these people out of their mind? For real? Joe, take a link. It's only 11:30 there. Off the cuff, responded to comments. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm cuter than Cuff, so there you go. I'm cuter than the old cop, so there you go, Joe. Yeah, Joe, we need some clarification. Look at the screenshot of Fox on Twitter. Screenshot of Fox on Twitter. Hold on. Thanks, Zelda. Yeah, I need another voice of reason here. I'm being pounded by the conspiracy theories. Phil and Bill are cute, but Laura has a point. Thanks, Lindsay. I can see up here deal on the right. Let's not go there. Turning on camera and light. There you go. All right. Yeah, I'm not on camera tonight. I had a rough day. Really rough day. All right, what am I looking for on Twitter? Oh, in the ring. Brian's Laundrie dental records came back a match, and his body was just found, but it took them weeks to identify Jelani. Come on, these people are fucking crazy. Brian Laundrie had, well, that's what I was on, to lose a few brain cells about what was seeing. Thank you, good vibes. Yeah, she's okay. Actor James Michael Tyler dies at 59. Joe said, come on. Is he there? He's not there yet. They are reading it wrong. I agree.
Joe Marie joined.
There he is. What's up?
Hello.
Hello. What's up? You gotta mute your YouTube.
All right, hold on. Let me. Okay, shut that off. How's that better?
Much better.
Okay, sorry about that.
Dude, why are the conspiracy theories going crazy? These people are insane.
It's terrible. This poor family. That's all I could think about. A parent is not supposed to bury their own child, and this is the most horrible experience. Having him accused of all kinds of crimes and murder, and even just the loss of Gabby. Don't you think that affected them as well? And then the parents, they want to stone the parents. They got protesters outside. This is just horrible. This whole scenario.
I agree.
Yeah.
People want life to be a Hollywood movie. I agree with that. It's insane.
Yeah.
And then Christy found out that's nobody said it was a DNA match, or that it wasn't a DNA match. That everyone is totally mistaking what was actually said.
Yeah.
They said they don't have the DNA yet. And they don't have the DNA yet, but the teeth match. Do they think the parents planted teeth in somebody else's skull?
No.
I can't understand the logic. And that's why I'm
Yeah.
saying would rather have 50 people in here that talk facts than 900 or 1,200 or 5,000 that come up with these crazy conspiracy theories. It
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense to me.
And that these parents somehow outsmarted the FBI and planted this stuff and put it. I mean, it's just, bizarre.
I agree. Which is one thing. Is it even possible that the parents could plant somebody's teeth? That's not even possible, right?
No, you would need a dentist, an odontologist to be able to configure how the teeth would be placed and spaced, inside of a jaw.
That's a good
And then I can't even, consider it because it's just so ridiculous.
I agree with that. And when it comes to the FBI, I don't know how much of the live you watched, but there was a ton of stuff that I addressed. But just from a professional, I want people to hear that it's absolutely unthinkable, not even logical, not possible, not even remotely possible that the FBI would put Brian in a witness protection program because they want to, this is what I heard, because they want to give the public answers. Please say from a professional perspective that that's not even possible.
Well, I'm sorry for not being able to tune in sooner. I was on Police Off the Cuff, and then I was just answering comments in the comment section, and then I just wanted to see who else was on, and I saw you were on, so I missed that. But I think I'm happy I missed it because there were now. Did anyone say that he was actually murdered by the police? That they found him and killed him? And
I haven't heard that one.
Did that theory come out? Because I'm waiting for that.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Some vigilante officer found him and killed him. Is that where we're going next? I mean, why isn't the reality of what happened, enough of an answer? He was exactly where the parents said he was. And I think they went out there and, unfortunately that area was underwater. It was waist deep water when they originally started the search. And, they went back there for whatever reason. I don't even know if the parents went back there or the FBI directed them to come over. But in any event, that's where the parents said he goes. That's where he hangs out. And he was there. So all this talk about him fleeing and they're aiding and abetting him. No, he was never fleeing. He was a missing.
Yep.
And whatever cause of death they determine, suicide or manner of death, suicide or accidental or animal, I think it's clear that he went. They're even talking about before he left his state of mind and demeanor. He was, definitely bothered and upset and troubled. So it's entirely possible it was a suicide, or he just didn't care anymore and he wasn't careful, and some animal or something overtook him. He may have slipped, fell, a snake bite, could be anything. But for people to now engage in all this conspiracy theory stuff, it's just bizarre.
And it's all over. So Lindsay said, Joe, can you explain from your attorney point of view what Fox News headline is trying to say by their latest headline? Lindsay, what's the exact latest headline? Yeah, DNA results are not back yet. But what was the exact headline? Yeah, you should see some of these crazy theories that I had to dismantle tonight.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe the shit that I was hearing. I was like, wow, I can't with this. Like, and again, from a police perspective,
right.
With all, hold on. Fox News headline is saying that even though the skull has been found, DNA has not confirmed a match yet, and that the cause of death has not been determined. So everybody's running with this, that the DNA doesn't match.
Right. But I mean, the odontologist, it's like a fingerprint. To be able to manipulate the teeth and whether or not there were fillings or whatever work he may have had or not had in his mouth, it's like a fingerprint, your mouth and your bite.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're convinced, that it is him and it was a match, why are we mistrusting that?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Why do people distrust the FBI? I don't get it.
They didn't do themselves any service by, the last couple of years and at the top level. But certainly, I think the frontline FBI agents are doing a great job. I mean, just historically dealing with them. I remember in 1993 with the first bombing of the World Trade Center, they found the VIN number of the truck that blew up, in the basement of the World Trade Center. They found the VIN number, and that's how they traced it back to the truck and where it was rented. It was a Ryder truck. So, I mean, that's painstaking work and the investigation. Like, I am ordinarily impressed with the work they do. And I have a client who was the victim of a financial crime. They are so caring and considerate of her. They contact me and, always just looking out for her best interest. Look, if it's too much trouble for her, we'd like her to come, give a statement, this, that. Like, they're very professional and I enjoy working with them. However, the stuff that went on with, the election and the FISA court, there was actually an attorney for the Department of Justice. I never would have believed this before the Trump administration. An attorney for the Department of Justice doctored documents to present to a judge. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, the law license, going to prison, why? For what? What is so important that you're going to risk everything to falsify records? I was really just shocked by what I saw. And then General Flynn, the perjury trap, there's some stuff that goes on that's, abusive. And, there really is no accountability. Like, the NYPD is probably the most scrutinized law enforcement agency in the world. There is an alphabet soup of agencies that are overlooking. Nobody overlooks the federal government. They're at the top of the chain. So, yeah. So they could use a little more scrutiny. It always helps, but I still think that.
Hold on a second. I don't mean to interrupt. Vanessa says, blame the police, FBI, because they lie so much with no credibility. They cover up a lot of bullshit, so that might cover up this. But tell me what they lie so much about. I hear people say that, but I don't see where the FBI is constantly lying. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, what's their motive in trying to fake Brian's death and put him in the witness protection program? What is their motive?
That's
how
what
does
I
that help me anything?
Exactly what I said. I said they could never arrest them again. But people are coming out, they're running with this, and these conspiracy theorists or people want to believe it, and they're just running with it. And
when was his body discovered?
A couple of days ago.
Yeah, I forget what day it was.
Guys, what was the day? CS, yeah, you can email it to me.
Well, in any event, so just before I went on to police off the cuff, I just wanted to see like what the status of the case was. Now that he's been confirmed dead, they should have canceled the warrant and kind of, closed the case against him because you can't prosecute a dead guy. So I went to the docket to see what was entered, and there was no change. He's still wanted. He's still active arrest warrant for him, which I thought was a little odd, but in the whole scheme of things, the way they've been acting in this case and the mistakes they've been making, I think I talked about it with you. They cited the wrong statute. They had to amend it, and then they moved to have it sealed. The next day they unseal it. So I'm not surprised that nothing had happened, And this actually happened to me. I had a client who I was getting ready to have his case. He ended up having a conditional plea where he pled guilty. He had to complete some activities, and then he was successfully completed it. So then I got off the phone with the district attorney. He says, we're going to dismiss the felonies, give him a misdemeanor. He's done, success. So I called him. It was Sunday night because he was coming in Monday morning, and I called his phone. I got his mother, hysterical, crying. What's the matter? What's going on? She goes, he's dead. So how is he dead? What happened? Apparently it was an overdose. Him and his girlfriend, she walked in and found them Sunday morning, that morning. And he still had the needle in his arm. Both of them were dead. So I had to go to court the next day. And I explained to the judge and the district attorney that he died. Obviously, I wasn't there to witness him dead. So they adjourned the case and asked me to get a copy of the death certificate, bring it in. This way, there's no warrant, there's no issue, and you just close the case. So the case does continue until you close it out, which has to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know if it's too soon to look for that. But as soon as the coroner came out with, not the coroner, whoever made the determination, the positive ID, they should be able to put together at least, an interim death certificate that we can file. But
they saying he was found Thursday/Friday. They wouldn't do it on the weekends, though, right?
Yeah, it's still a little too soon. So perhaps, next week we'll see. Well, this week coming, tomorrow. But I'm interested to see what they do.
What do you think Fox News is trying to say by that headline?
I'm sorry, what was the headline?
Someone that the DNA is no match. There's no DNA match on the body, but the skull matches or the teeth match. It's ludicrous.
Well, yeah, they wouldn't have a DNA result yet. That's too soon. It takes a little while to do that. That's a very detailed, analysis that has to be done. I was actually surprised how fast they did the dental records, but apparently, obviously, he's been in the woods there for a long time. They did contemplate that he may be dead, so they prepared and they obtained those records ahead of time, which makes sense. But I'm sure they were ready for DNA as well. It's just a matter of, extracting the sample, comparing it, doing the analysis.
Do you think that I'm the more that I thought of this, the more I believe it to be true? I think they were always looking for a dead body, that they knew that he was dead. Could be from the parents or believe the parents, but I just cannot imagine them looking that hard in that same area if they were looking for somebody that was still alive. I think they would have used different searches, different types of searches. The more that I looked back on it, to me, it seemed like they were looking for a dead body.
I think that's a good observation. And part of why it's hard to say is because we're not privy to the information the FBI had, because I believe that the parents have been cooperating all along. I believe their attorney, Bertolino, who was saying that they were having continuous communications. And the fact that he indicated that the parents shared with him when Brian left, his demeanor, I'm sure they shared that with the FBI, and that kind of put them on guard that possibly he did, commit suicide or but also I think they did get a number of tips that he was alive that they were pursuing. But I kind of agree with you. The fact that they stayed in that preserve and they were concentrating on certain areas, I think they were really looking for Chris's help, the father, as to where he normally hangs out, where he goes, because, that given the facts that they knew and the possibility that he might be suicidal, let's find out where he goes and check there. So I think you're right. I think it's a good observation. Everyone else thought he was in Cuba and Mexico, and
it's ridiculous. I think
Yeah,
all
I didn't believe that.
looking for a dead body. Just from the way they searched it, the way, like, if he was alive, he would have known what was going on. He would have seen the park being closed. He would have been on the move at night. Like, too many things were pointing at, I mean, I didn't realize it when it was happening, but once it was all over and I looked back, I'm like, you know what? They were always looking for a dead body. They were never looking for a live person. That's why they dismissed so many of these people that said he was alive.
Yeah.
He's always been dead.
I mean, they got to follow up on it. These, all investigative leads, you got to follow up on them. But I think you're right. I think they, pretty much the strongest possibility was that he was dead in the preserve somewhere, which as a dead body is not going to pick up on any heat sensors, infrared, which makes the search a lot harder. You actually got to physically look for him.
Yep.
And
which
I
is
think
what they
it explains why it took so long.
did. And it explains also if he was underwater. And there's been a lot of theories about crocodiles got him, or this one got him, or that one got him.
Yeah.
And the reason why I don't believe that either is because if his stuff was next to bones, then a crocodile didn't get him, because the crocodile wouldn't have left his stuff right next to him. Or
what would the crocodile have done? Like, used the bag and said, "Oh, this is nice. Let me."
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, there's no way that a crocodile got him. Or the latest theory is there was rope found and he must have hung himself. Well, why was his stuff right next to him then?
Can you believe how this stuff comes out? I heard that too. There was a noose or something that somebody found. First there was a gun. Now there's a noose. Like, what else?
Hold on. The gun, I believe. I'm gonna tell you why. When I'm one of the first people that reported the gun, because someone was on site and said that's what they said, and then they changed it. I do believe there was a gun, and I do believe the FBI realized that they told reporters that and they changed it, or they wanted to change it. But the reason why I believe there's a gun is because I do believe that he shot himself that night. He died right then and there when it started to rain, because we know it rained pretty heavy. It rained pretty bad, which maybe wiped away the smell or whatever, but he sunk. He went under, or the grass was high, or whatever the situation, or maybe he got pulled away. Maybe he wasn't there at that time. And if the gun was next to him, then he just sank in the exact spot. And then when the water went away, he rose up in that exact spot. And I do kind of believe there was a gun. I do.
I think it's highly likely there was a gun. Guns illegal. You could pick one up at the flea market on the way there, So, and to go into a place like that without a gun is suicidal, in my opinion. So I don't doubt that there may have been a gun. I don't know if that was the manner of death, but I'm hearing a noose now. What? I hate to even mention this stuff because I know a lot of it is all just rumor, but who spread it? Who starts something like that?
I don't know.
It's terrible.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To confirm this DNA stuff, Fox News is sensationalizing something. The DNA doesn't not match. The DNA is not confirmed yet. That's not new. That's not news. We know that. But the teeth match. The teeth that were inside the skull, not loose teeth, but teeth that were inside the skull that they found matched Brian Laundrie. So as Joe said, unless somebody glued those teeth in that knew exactly Brian's teeth, the skull is his and the DNA matches.
Even it wouldn't even be glue because they'd see glue. I just don't see how someone could pull that off.
Because people read headlines without reading the article or watching the story. I agree.
Yeah.
If he used the gun after he shot himself, he put it in a bag and wrapped up with twine.
After he shot himself?
After he shot himself. John Walsh said
it
this
in
in Mexico. Okay. John Walsh is an idiot. I put John Walsh up there with Chris McDonough.
Oh, I can't stand John Walsh. I mean, I haven't liked him for a long time, you know, and I always think of that famous quote of Maya Angelou: when somebody tells you who they are, believe them the first time. And it's
I
so
totally
true.
agree.
You know, back in 1991, I was a young police officer, and we traveled during Police Week, National Police Week, to Washington, to the police memorial, to mourn the officers who were killed in the line of duty the year before. And the early 90s, it was a bloodbath. I mean, we had like 2,200 homicides. And, you know, it's a place for cops. You go there, we mourn the loss of, you know, well over 100 officers. I forget how many exactly. And the keynote speaker that year was John Walsh.
Oh God.
So I really had no experience with him prior to that, except, you know, maybe that TV show was around that time, but I didn't even watch it that much. He gets up there and we're all standing at attention, all in uniform. It's a formal proceeding. And it was 1991. So it was the year of Rodney King, and it had just happened.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
He took this opportunity at a police memorial where we're mourning the loss of our fellow brother and sister officer to then just attack and say how disgusting it was what these officers did in LA. I was so upset. Me and several others, we just turned around and walked away. We just walked off the field while he was speaking.
Wow.
There's plenty of people, plenty of time, and plenty of places to talk about your opinions of Rodney King. At a memorial site for police officers,
Exactly.
this guy is such a cop hater. And if you listen to him, he doesn't hide it. He always talks about he hates the cops that were involved in his son's death and abduction, blames them for everything. And then if you hear him in his comments, he always with the sideways attack on the police, and he takes credit for doing everything. If you ever hear him, I captured 1,400 people.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd like to see you walk a foot post where I worked, you know, in the violent 32 precinct where we had over 100 homicides in our one precinct. Let's see him.
Hounds, this is where the confusion comes in. He hasn't done anything. He had a show. He was a host of a show that opened up the public to call in. We don't even know if it was his idea for the show or if he was just the host.
You would have done a better job with your passion to try to locate these people. You would have done a better job.
Thank you.
But he takes credit. I captured 1,400 people. Yeah, right. What about the people who are actually out there following up on these leads while you're up in the studio getting your face powdered?
Yep.
Come on.
Leads that came from the public. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's like, as a YouTube creator, me taking credit for something that would have nothing to do with me. Just because I report on something doesn't mean I own it. Yeah. And I totally agree with you. Yeah, he takes credit for the work that the team did, that cops do, even the bounty hunters have done. He doesn't do anything. He sits there and is just a host. And like I said, we don't even know if he's the one that created the show or if he was just asked to be a host.
And then he makes
that
despicable comment about Brian Laundrie should off himself, do us all a favor and off himself.
And he did.
Wow. That's just, why isn't he canceled? Where's all the the censorship and what do they call it when you the terms of service? Like, why isn't he being yoked off the air? He's promoting suicide. And it may be that this kid killed himself, it's just shocking.
The show that Banfield did that had John Walsh, Petito, Natalie Holloway's mom, and somebody else. Thank you, Lindsay. Lynn said, Joe Murray, if you were representing the Laundries, would you have given them the same advice as Bertolino, or what would you do differently? That's a good question.
I would not have done a thing different. As far as the advice, my one critique, and I hate to be a Monday morning quarterback, but I think you'll understand when I say it. I think Brian should have had his own attorney, loyal to him and him alone, and that attorney should have been there with him, beside him. You know, we call it hand holding. There are a lot of clients that need, extra attention and comfort to, here's what's happening in the case. Let me explain it to you. And then, you're constantly giving them advice, reassuring them that you're working in their best interest. This is a massive national, international homicide investigation that's focusing on him. And then just to have this, telephone communication with your lawyer, I think that was a mistake. He should have had somebody right there with him to talk to him and guide him and advise him. Think about this. As a suspect in this major investigation, he can talk to nobody because anyone he talks to could potentially be a witness against him. The only person that he has the ability to have a privileged communication with is his lawyer. And his lawyer is up here in Long Island. It's just, I think that was a mistake. And it may have made a difference if somebody was there to reassure him and hold his hand. We call it hand holding. This 23-year-old kid, it must have been enormously traumatic and stressful to go through this event, guilty or not guilty. It's just awesome what he had to go through. Protesters outside the house, banging on the door, all kinds of crazy stuff. It may have made a difference in his life, but that's not Bertolino's fault. That was a family decision. But I would have given exactly the same advice, saying nothing to anyone.
All right, second part of the question. Would you have made sure he didn't leave the home, or would you have flown to Florida?
Like I said, I would have been there. I mean, he needed hand holding. For a case of this magnitude, for a young kid like that, he needed hand holding. And, that's how I do it.
But in all fairness, when he disappeared, it wasn't a case of this magnitude. They had just reported her. He allegedly left on
I beg to differ. Everyone knew about this case. It's like the first when he came home, and without her, of course, it was reported on 9/11, but the shock of hearing that this kid drove home without her in her van, when it was reported on 9/11, like that is where this thing blew up. To me, that's what drew everyone's attention to it. It wasn't so much, yes, it was their social media presence that there was so much you could see. But that fact that he came home on the first with her van without her and she lived there, like those facts were just so crazy.
Yes, but you're forgetting a major, major point, Joe.
Yeah.
The story broke on the 11th. Nobody cared on the 11th. On the 12th, it started getting a little traction. On the 13th, he was gone already. He didn't even know how big the case was. None of us knew how big it was until around the 15th or 16th. She was found on the 19th. But I think the first TikToker to come out was probably after he was dead already. Like, he probably shot himself already.
Even if it wasn't the media attention, this is a homicide investigation, like he lost his girlfriend. I honestly believe that if he didn't kill her, he walked in and found her and discovered her. So that trauma alone, it's entirely possible. They left the piglet. They had this domestic. It got physical again. They both had scratches on them. Like on the 12th, I don't think they would have done anything different. He walks away. He comes back. She's dead. What do you do? Call the police and they see scratches on her, scratches on him? Yeah, he'd be sitting in a cell with no bail and done. He probably panicked, was upset, called his parents, and he decided, I'm coming home. And he came home, and we'll deal with it when I get home. There's nothing you could do for her. She's dead already, you know? So there's no crime in failing to report her. So I think that was his panicked 23-year-old decision to come home. And then seeing the mounting pressure coming on him, I mean, it's a homicide investigation. You know, even the trauma, if in fact he walked in and saw her, you know, dead, that's really shocking. This is your fiance, you know?
I know, and I've thought about your theory, and I toss it around over and over and over. I still think he killed her, though.
It's entirely possible. I'm just raising that because it kind of fits in with the facts. Like, it makes sense.
But if he didn't kill her, this is the part that I toss, and this is where I throw your theory out the window. If he didn't kill her, why not at least talk to Gabby's parents? Let them make a decision. Let them decide what's going to happen.
What are you going to say to Gabby's parents? She's dead. I found her. And you know, we did have a series of domestic incidents. He's in the same jackpot. He's in the same jackpot. Now, knowing that on the 12th, they had this very well documented encounter with the police, served with a stay away order, put up in a hotel. You know, he knows that's going to come back. You know, he'd have to be an idiot to think they're not going to look at that. And then the incident at the Piglet, I just think it was, you know, say nothing. You can't help yourself at this point because nobody is going to believe you. Nobody's going to believe him.
All right. So Lindy wants to know if he indeed admitted it, that he killed her, what would your advice be to him if you were his attorney?
If he came to me and said, listen, I did this, I would have brought him in right away, and tried to work something out with the prosecutor, because they still at that time had no idea where she was.
Yeah.
So by cooperating and providing information, you know, you may favor, you know, a lesser sentence, a lower charge, some mitigation. But time is of the essence. You need to do that right away.
So, but I'm sure you watched Bertolino's interview, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with some of what he said. I agree that he gave away a lot without trying, or without giving away anything. One of the things that stuck out to me is, one, he lied saying he was never in Florida. That's not true, because he did go to Florida, according to them. Mm-hmm. But he was saying that his conversations with Brian are secret. His conversations with Brian do not fall under that they're all, you know, secretive. Could they fall under client-attorney privilege?
Yes.
Banfield said that when a third party comes in, that client privilege is out the window. That stuck with me, because then he said that, well, I've been representing them for 25 years, so it's always attorney-client privilege. Is that true? That it
first of all, Banfield is absolutely wrong. And that was nothing more than a publicity stunt. And she knows it. She knew it was wrong, but it was a gotcha moment. So she looks like a hero. You know, it was purely for ratings. I've done it. You have the right to represent more than one person in a case. As long as you disclose it.
As long as they're not co-defendants. As long as they're not co-defendants.
Even co-defendants. I've represented co-defendants, and it's privileged.
So hold on. Him and White Lotus commit murder together, okay?
Yeah.
And we're co-defendants because we did it together, or I told her about it, whatever. You can represent both of us?
See, the issue is not so much the privilege in that scenario, it's the conflict of interest. Do you have the ability to point fingers at each other? Because think about it. Would it be fair if you're saying she did something that's inculpatory to her and she's saying something that's inculpatory to you? Who do I embrace? Who do I defend? Who do I cross-examine? So in that scenario where you potentially could go like this, she did it, you can't represent both people. That's an unwaivable conflict. You cannot do that. Ordinarily, minor conflicts people can waive, you know,
Okay.
and you bring it to their attention. You tell them it's a Gomberg warnings that you have to give. You say to them, you have an absolute right to an attorney without conflict that represents you 100% loyal to you. Because in that scenario, who am I loyal to? Who am I trying to get off? Trying to get you out, but you know, White Rose will, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a conflict about your duty of loyalty. So in that case, I would never take that case together.
But like a husband and wife that can't go against each other, you can represent both of them. Or like
No.
someone said, Leslie Abraham represented both Lyle and Eric.
The reality is you both have to have not committed the crime, you know, or had a united defense. Like you're not going to say she had the gun and she's going to say you had the gun. That's not my gun. You know what I mean? Like there can't be finger pointing. You could be co-defendants in the same crime and arguing the same thing as long as you're not going like this.
All right, hold on. Last super chat. If BL was so freaked out and came home, why was he pictured camping with his family September 6th to the 8th, smiling from ear to ear?
You know, I had this conversation with, who was
she
it?
watches you on Police Off the Cuff, by the way.
Oh,
I know
yeah. I had this conversation with, was it you? It was the goodbye camping trip.
That was me.
That was you. So, and I actually agree with you. It was a goodbye camping trip because they know it's only a matter of time before they piece all this together. He was the last one with her. Circumstantially, he's the suspect. Probable cause a very low standard that they would arrest him. They're going to remand him. This would be their last time to be able to sit at the campsite and hug their son, spend quality time with him before this circus goes into play, into full swing. So I think that was the purpose of doing that, to enjoy some quality time together. I don't think it was celebrating Gabby's death, you know?
Hold on, L.A., where did you hear that? Said those pictures weren't taken that day at Fort DeSoto, though. They were taken off of Cassie's Facebook from a previous time. Where did you hear that? I would need proof of that.
Yeah. So much disinformation. We don't know.
And L's usually pretty good, but I would need proof of that. Because I think Cassie confirmed that was that day. Why wouldn't any of them post pictures taken that day? They would have been snitching on themselves. That's a good point, too. That's one way.
Wait. Snitching on who? What was the criminality that they're snitching on? They're allowed to go to the park together.
Yes, but the pictures that made the news were from the same day that the entire family went camping. Yeah, I would need proof. I would need to look at Cassie's Facebook.
Yeah.
They said because he is an adult, not was. All right, so going back to my original question about Banfield. So
I think it was despicable what she did. That was purely a publicity stunt. Even if there wasn't privilege, he has the right not to answer the question. She was trying to make it sound like, so now answer the question. It was a pure publicity stunt. 100%. And she's wrong. She is so wrong. You have the right to represent. Matter of fact, I was going to do it last week. I have a client of mine who has a co-defendant, who has his own lawyer. We're actually adverse to each other. But my client, because of what was happening in the plea negotiations, he was like, listen, I want to be there. Arrange a co-defendant's meeting. It's a contract that we all sign, that we're going to maintain the privilege amongst us, and we're going to be meeting together and speaking together about our defense. And that survives. I mean, that privilege prevents them from talking about, or his lawyer from bringing up anything during that conversation, and likewise with me. And that's not even people I represent. So the privilege is protected primarily in criminal cases. This is where it all came from, because they preserve your rights more, I think, in the criminal forum.
Yeah, I agree.
So she's way off. That is so false. There's so much case law on it. You could just Google it.
Interesting. All right. Other thing, Bertolino. Do you agree with him doing this tour of press conferences, even though he's not saying anything?
I think it was on behalf. Don't forget, he's friends with the Laundries. They know each other 25 years, according to him. Yeah. And I think now that Brian has passed away, however way he died, they want to mourn him. Like, make these protesters go away. I think they gave him the authority to do this in an effort to try to just bring peace and let them go away and leave them alone. Let them mourn their son's loss. And I interpret what he's doing as giving answers so that he can, okay, we don't need these people camped outside anymore. I'm coming to you. I'm going to each one of your stations and giving interviews. Ask me whatever you want. So I think that was the effort to try to, alleviate what's going on, the madness at the house. Their son's dead, and they're going to have to, bury him or cremate him or do something. But they're mourning him.
Hold on. I agree with that. Lindsay wants to come up. I'll tell you a funny story about Lindsay. So I get a phone call today through my work line. And I answered it. I said, hello. And she said, hi, Laura. I said, yeah. Because I said, this is Laura. How can I help you? She's like, this is going to be like the strangest call you're ever going to get. And I said, okay, how can I help you? She goes, you have to do something about what's being said in these conspiracy theories. But I was hysterical laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm watching. I know it's crazy. But she had mentioned you. Yeah. What's up, Lindsay? Lindsay?
I see a big L, and I see a picture of you. What's going on here?
Is a mute on? No, a mute's not on. Lindsay? Your audio is not working. Try going out and coming back in. Never had anyone had a problem with audio, though. There you are. You can turn your camera off, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
I turned your camera off, but I can't hear you.
Put this here.
Now mute's on. Maybe it's her audio? I can't even change audio. Are you there? I know she's not, at least I know she's not going to porn me. Lindsay, try going out and coming back in. Because I can't hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
Joe doesn't have a channel cam.
Not yet. I'm thinking really doing this, though, because
you can't get a channel. Come on.
Of course I will. I love. Listen, I really see a lot of good things in your show that you really should be, doing much better. I don't understand why people are not jumping in on this.
I agree.
Little tweaks here and there, and I think you'll be set up for success. That's why I enjoy coming on your show. I think we'd help each other, get the word out and All right, is that her? I see Lindsay.
Lindsay, speak.
Hi, Linz.
Still not getting. It may be your headphones. Maybe it's your headphones. It's not getting sound.
Oh, I didn't put mine in. Do I have an echo or anything?
No, you're good.
I could put my okay.
Not getting any sound, Lindsay. Try disconnecting your headphones. It could be the headphones. As soon as I see you come on, I jump on your channel. Thank you, Sleuth.
That's great.
I would try disconnecting the headphones. I've never had anybody have problem with sound. That's why I love Melon app.
Yeah, especially that I can speak. You know, why would she not be able to speak?
I don't know. I don't know. I can see her, but I can't hear her.
Yeah.
Still no
But
sound.
there's still so many unanswered questions. And you got to remember, we don't know half of what the law enforcement knows.
I agree.
And the fact that they didn't yet indict him, or at least reveal the indictment, if there is one, it's kind of evidence that maybe they're going in a different investigative direction. Maybe there was third-party DNA recovered from the body that they now have to exhaust those investigative leads, see where that goes. I don't know. There's just too many questions, and I just hate to see people so convinced they don't know half the evidence.
I
and
agree.
they're so convinced that he's guilty. Oh, he's guilty. You're ridiculous. I'm ridiculous? Yeah, it's just shocking.
I can see both sides, but in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, now you're echoing. You weren't echoing before. Now I hear an echo.
Me?
You weren't before. Yeah, you weren't before.
Oh, I'll put my headphones on. Usually
No,
that's the
you weren't before, and only like since you said it, now I hear a little bit of an echo.
Oh,
But I didn't before.
okay.
So to me, it spoke volumes that when Bertolino was asked by Banfield, did Brian kill Gabby? And he was extremely hesitant and answered completely different than he did on other questions. That, to me, in my opinion, spoke volumes.
Well, I can understand the hesitation there because he doesn't know. I mean, what would you expect his answer to be based on? What Brian told him? You think Brian is going to be 100% truthful about what he did? I mean, I don't know what people were expecting. I think that's what was turning the wheel in his head. You know, was she asking his opinion? You know, when she said, did Brian kill? Well, what am I basing that on? The conversations or the evidence, what it looks like? You know, so I think it would give me pause how I answer that question.
See, it's interesting that you say that, though, because a lot of people are talking about how Gabby's family now doesn't get justice. To me, I feel like his death is the ultimate justice.
Yeah,
But
if you believe Brian did it and he's dead,
it's the ultimate
swamp.
justice.
He was found dead in a swamp, just bones. What kind of justice do you want?
And I agree with that. And I get that Gabby's family will never get the answers they want of what happened to their daughter. Totally get that. But I feel like, it does, even if Brian was alive, it doesn't mean he's going to tell them the right answers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with that either, that they would have gotten any more answers. Of course, they could file like a wrongful death lawsuit. He has no assets, but just for the fact of doing it, so you can go through the discovery process, do the depositions, ask the questions. They may want to just do that. They're not interested in money. They're interested in answers. So by filing that lawsuit and calling them in for depositions and, trying to subpoena text messages and stuff like that, there's no more privilege. If I guess they still would have a privilege about potentially aiding him. You know, like I guess he still could. They still could potentially be charged if they gave answers that incriminated them to aiding him in any, you know, either avoiding detection. So yeah, they may not even get answers that way.
And that's what I was saying. I mean, Chris Watts is a perfect example of that. Thank you, Devo Bright. Chris Watts is a perfect example of that. That Shanann never got answers. We don't know if Brian would ever give the right answers. You know, everybody thinks Brian would just, you know, come there and be like, hey, I did this to her. I didn't do this, but I did this to her. And these are the reasons I did it. That never happens. Hold on.
Yeah.
Can we hear you now, Lindsay?
How's my echo?
Oh, Lindsay? Still can't hear her. Lindsay, do you want to call me on the phone and then ask questions?
Oh, yeah, that works.
Let me grab my phone because that might be easier.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way.
Exactly. Yeah, Lindsay, we can't hear you. But call me on the phone. Someone said, do you think if he had been alive and found guilty that he would have gotten life in prison? Hold on.
Incoming business call. To accept, press 1. To decline.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, now we can hear you. Yay!
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I don't know what was up with that, but so those pictures, those were released with Cassie gave them to Good Morning America when she came on there. Like, this was our trip, everything was fine.
Okay.
That was just one thing. I can't hear Joe.
Hi, Lindsay.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, he wasn't talking. We're
like the old school, like, Verizon commercials.
Yeah.
So true.
So yeah, my question is, okay, so if Joe's theory is correct, some weird thing happened, he came home, he was, you know, not really knowing what to do. He takes this trip and he's smiling and gleeful and fine, but then he's distraught a few days later. My question is, how could that be?
That's a good point too. She makes a really good point.
I think, you know, when someone in his situation, he's 23 years old. I can't imagine he's ever been, you know, subjected to anything of this magnitude, you know, a homicide investigation, him being implicated, all evidence pointing to him, you know, and if he guilty or not guilty, either way, it's traumatic and stressful.
Yeah, but she's saying he was fine on the 8th.
Yes, but you know, I think
there was
we
no
both
investigation.
We both agree that that was probably just a quality of time together with the family, that was the purpose of it, because whether we believe your theory that he was getting ready to run and they wouldn't see him, or my theory that, you know, the walls are closing in on him, they're eventually going to arrest him, he's going to have to go through this pretrial detention and prosecution and hope for the best, but he could potentially be in prison for the rest of his life. This is their last opportunity to sit in the grass and hug him and laugh and play with them. So I think they took advantage of that time, and it was well spent with, you know, their loved ones. But then after that, you know, he was thinking, about what was coming, and perhaps it was overwhelming.
Well, but on the 6th through the 8th, there was no homicide charge, or there still isn't, but, his family hadn't even really gotten the missing person report.
Yeah, I'm just speculating. I don't have any evidence of this, but I really do believe that, it's entirely possible that he discovered her dead. Like, he knew she was dead, whether he killed her or he walked in and, came back to the camp and found her dead. And I believe he called his parents. I believe he had that kind of relationship. And, I think they discussed this,
Tell her why you believe that, though.
Why?
Tell her why you believe that.
Believe what? That he told the parents, or that he may not have killed her?
That he may not have killed her. I know why, but maybe she doesn't know why you think like that.
Yeah, there's so many reasons. There's so many inconsistencies with him, as a 23-year-old. I've heard so many people just, trying to give a hypothesis as to why he would have killed her. Jealous, rage. He's a control freak. Well, then why did he leave her for 7 days and 6 nights alone in a hotel in Salt Lake City? That doesn't make sense. Well, she's a battered woman. He abuses her. Yeah, but he lives in his home with his parents. Cassie and her husband live there. She has 4 parents who seem to be wonderful, loving people who were at her fingertips, and she's called them when she needed them. She worked with the family at the family business. I believe she said she quit her job at the juice bar or whatever, and I think that was the family business. These 2 were under a microscope. People would have seen domestic violence, something serious, and intervened. So I don't get that picture from him. I mean, this is the guy that told the cop, I don't want water. I don't drink water from a bottle. I don't take him to be this. I try to explain to somebody, if I saw that car stop and he get out of the car and he slammed the door and he kicked the tire or the side of the van and started confronting the cops, what are you doing? Why are you hassling me? What did I do wrong?
Or downing her, which he didn't do.
Or abusive to her. Yep. Yeah, that might be consistent, but I didn't see anything. I even look at, and I get beat up for saying this, but I look at Gabby. She is not afraid of him. She is quick to hit him and smack him, and women don't do that if they're afraid. I've seen domestic violence. I've seen women afraid of their own shadow, who get beat down. I don't look at Gabby as an abused woman who's afraid of him. We know that she was, free to slap him and hit him. Even the car stop, she said she hit him or, pushed him or did something, and that caused him to turn the wheel. So even the caller said, yeah, she was at the driver's side door hitting him. Obviously, she's the aggressor because she could retreat and walk away. He can't. He's stuck in the car. He's in the driver's seat, and she's hitting him. That's not a woman who's afraid of him. So I don't get that she was an abused woman, and I don't see his rage.
I don't think she is an abused woman per se in the terms that we were just speaking of. I don't think she's necessarily terrified. However, typically when couples fight in public, the way that they're fighting, is a pretty good indicator of what they're doing when nobody is watching.
I agree.
If they fight in public, imagine what they're doing when nobody's looking.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Hold up. Everlaw brought up a good point. She literally crawled through the driver's side window over his body and to the passenger side. People that are very afraid, women that are afraid, wouldn't do that.
And if he was so abusive, why didn't she get lumped up for doing that?
I don't prescribe to. I get how the videos came out. I saw that too. I don't think she was scared. I think she was a little scrappy. and maybe it went too far. But I mean, okay, if I accidentally killed someone and I'm like, oh crap, what do I do? Why wouldn't you just call the cops? Or
I mean, to your point, I think that's a good point. But to your original point, in private, I think they had the incident at the Piglet. Maybe they continued to argue. They're out at the campsite, and of course, he may have done something wrong or started a fight with her. I think it's not beyond belief to say that it got physical, because it did get physical on the 12th. So now when he walked away, and this is just my hypothesis of possibly. So he walks away and then he comes back, a couple hours later and finds her dead. He's got scratches on him. She's got scratches on her. Of course he's going to panic. He knows how very public that other August 12th incident was.
He wouldn't have panicked because he actually just has on film a bunch of police officers calling her the aggressor.
On the 12th, but don't forget, on the 27th, they have that incident at the Piglet.
Yeah, but at that point, he doesn't know that those people are going to speak up. So to say that, well, he had a domestic violence thing just happen, well, they deemed her the aggressor.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. If it was physical, either one of them, if he was dead and she was there, I mean, they're gonna be the number one suspect anyway.
I agree.
But if they admit to having a domestic incident that got physical and they have the battle scars, they're done. That's all I need. Probable cause.
So are you saying that if you were Brian and something did happen, it got taken too far, and I am posing this question as that maybe he did do something to hurt her. He goes home, then he can, go with his family, act all hunky-dory, and then in a few days, he just shuts down, is distraught, grieving, and then leaves. Are those normal thought patterns that you would expect?
Yeah, I kind of think for a 23-year-old who's kind of, I don't think he has a criminal history, that he actually has gone through anything like this. And, he consulted with Bertolino, and Bertolino gave him the hard facts. Listen, big guy, you're number one. You're target number one. Eventually, unless they find some other, person or cause of death, they're going to come for you, and this is going to be a battle. I know you didn't do it. I believe you. I'm going to fight for you, but it's coming, and you're going to be held and remanded. Nobody gets bail on a murder case. So enjoy your time while you have it, and just know that we'll fight for you. Yeah, I can foresee that.
That's another.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you. Like, on the basis of that would be his advice once he's back in Florida with her van. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have any other options. But I think there's so many before, that's where it's hard for me. But anyways, thank you, Joe. I think that you are very intelligent, and I enjoy watching you on Police Off the Cuff.
And on my channel.
I think you're great.
And on my channel.
And on your channel.
Yeah.
I've seen you appear on here, but I think you're great, and I think that you really do pose like a very valid opposite argument, and I so appreciate it.
Thanks so much. And just two other things I want to throw out there so you have in mind. The throttling, the strangulation, that's not pulling a trigger or stabbing somebody, which even stabbing someone is really hard for someone who's never done it. But to grab her by the neck and choke the life out of her, to see this horrific experience where she's choking and her life is passing, there's so much time for him to change his mind, to contemplate what he's doing and how this may impact his life. There was so much time for him to say, all right, that's enough. You know, I don't like that.
But hold on.
I agree with you. I agree with you there because you and I were both, I would guess, logical thinking humans. Neither of us would ever hurt anybody. But also, have you ever grabbed a woman by the face and held her cheeks together? No.
Yeah, but that's a big difference. You know, grabbing someone by the face is not life-threatening. Cutting off somebody's air and blood supply is life-threatening. And you'll actually see it happening as you're doing it.
Hold on, but let me ask you this. Isn't it possible, and I'm going to go by wrestling, but isn't it possible that you can catch somebody's throat to the point that you can kill them instantly? Is that
not what they said, though? They said it was throttling, which is kind of just like wringing her neck.
Oh, okay.
I just, I'm not saying he did it, but if you will grab a woman's face in public as a force of stop this, I mean, that's never happened to me, certainly. I don't think you, Joe, would ever do that. It just brings up another personality, well, not even personality, but just immediate reaction. So, but anyway, I think you're really brilliant, and if I ever do something weird, I'll call you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Bye,
Thanks
Lindsay.
for have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
That was funny.
He's so funny.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Bertolino also said that he wasn't hired to the 11th. I don't believe that.
No. That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
She
asked him a very convoluted question. When were you first involved with the case? What, like all this, material she threw on this very inartful question. And I believe as a lawyer, he interpreted it as, when did I enter the case? Normally, when do I file my notice of appearance? If there's an active case, when do I reach out to law enforcement? When do I? And I think that's what he said. Okay, they reported her missing, so I became involved on the 11th. As soon as she, was reported missing. I think he said there were communications prior to him, being officially hired on the case, and those are all privileged.
Are they privileged?
I get that all the time. People will call me up and say, "Hi, I'm looking for Joe Murray. The Joe Murray, are you the Joe Murray from Off the Cuff?" Or yes, I'm Joe. Oh, I have a criminal case. I was arrested. Can I talk to you about it? Sure. And they give me some of the facts. That's all protected and privileged as long as it was intended to be private and it's amongst privileged people. The only people that can hear it are him and I. And it's for my legal advice about this situation. That's protected and privileged, even though he didn't hire me. I can't share that information. So he had these conversations, but he doesn't want to share them, and that was all before the 11th.
But I thought that unless you hire the attorney, it's not privileged. But you're saying if the intent is there, then it is privileged.
The privilege is the communication, and you have to meet the elements for it to be privileged. Was it intended to be a secret, in confidence, conveyed in confidence, or was it anyone can listen to it? Well, if anyone can listen to it, then it's not privileged. It's not protected. So as long as it was intended to be secret, and it was amongst people who are privileged, like there are people like Angela's protected. She signed a confidentiality agreement to abide by the code of professional responsibility. So, and I use her as an investigator. So she's protected. The office staff are usually protected. And then sometimes I have an interpreter to facilitate the communication with the person. So they're protected. As long as it's intended to be secret, and it's amongst people that are privileged, and it's about legal advice or legal representation. The issue, we're not talking about the jet game, that's privilege. That's it. End of story. It doesn't matter if they hired me or not.
But then how come you see, when you look at in many different states, I don't just mean like one particular state, but you see in a lot of different places on lawyers advertising, this is not a
attorney-client relationship.
Yes.
This does not constitute an attorney-client relationship. Well, obviously it's not, secret. It's an advertisement. It's not meant to be in confidence.
But if I call you about it, I don't know. That to me seems like a gray line. Like, granted, nobody's going to know what I say to an attorney that I call. Look, nobody's going to know. But if I just call you and say I murdered somebody, I'm looking for an attorney, don't you have to report it?
Nope.
Really?
If you're about to commit a crime, yeah, I have to report that. But my job is to defend you if you were accused of a crime or committed a crime. So I don't have to report that.
Interesting. Okay.
There's two things that people get confused and they lump everything in their privilege. There's the duty of confidentiality. That's a duty the lawyer has. The lawyer cannot disclose any client secrets or any, material learned in this case that would possibly embarrass the client or, and then you have the privilege which belongs to the client. That privilege belongs to the client. The client can waive it and share information with someone if they want. I can't. It's all controlled by the client. So if the client says, hey, do me a favor, we're tired of this press attacking us, I will authorize you to share certain facts about the case.
Okay. I got
They are the gatekeeper for that. But there's two different things. The privilege belongs to the client and the confidentiality is our ethical duty that we have to abide by.
Okay. Interesting. All right, before I shut down, I got another question for you, personal question.
Oh.
So a car gets totaled. It is the fault of one of them. Did not get a ticket. Don't ask me how.
Did not get a ticket.
Did not get a ticket. 16-year-old did not get a ticket. My daughter blew a red light at a major intersection and totaled my car.
Okay, but
how she didn't get a ticket, I don't know. They never take it.
No, I'll tell you why. Because the officer has to observe that. They can't just give you a ticket. You have to observe.
She told him what happened. She told him, point out what happened.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
Interesting.
Remember we talked about the slapping? That's harassment. That's a violation. You can't arrest for that unless you personally observe it. A traffic offense has to be personally observed.
I did not know that. That's good to know.
Unless you're a camera.
And if it's not personally, so if someone went to give me a ticket when they didn't observe something, sorry, you can't do that.
Yeah, shocking. But they do it to get their numbers, and then you go up to court, and I didn't observe it.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. I did not know that. So she caused this accident. The other side seems to be okay. Her passenger in a car got hurt. I told the family, you have to sue my insurance company. That's
sue everyone. You sue the owner of the car, right? What's that?
That's not suing me personally, right?
Yeah, it's suing you personally, but your insurance will cover you.
Okay. Even though it's her fault. Right?
Whose fault?
My daughter's fault.
And your daughter's going to sue you?
No. Her passenger. I told the mother.
Passenger, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I told her. Everyone's got. And my mom was afraid that the people that she hit or the person that hit her or whatever is going to come after me personally. Well, good luck with that. You ain't getting nothing. Yeah. But can they do that? Can they come after you?
Yes, they generally don't. They'll just take the policy limits because it's just so expensive to go after someone and their personal assets unless they.
I have done, so they would get a big. have it.
Homeowners insurance. Do you have a homeowners insurance policy
Nope,
that you
I
might?
haven't.
Yeah. So
I have
uh,
nothing for anyone to
even
get.
rental insurance, but yeah. So it's really it's not cost effective to go beyond the policy limits, but they
Okay.
will apportion liability. Unless it was like a straight on rear end and she was stopped at a light and she rammed into her, that would be 100% liability. But if it's a side swipe, a crossing, or a red light would be 100% liability. But are there witnesses? Can she prove that?
Can she prove the
And
light wasn't faulty? I mean, I
yeah,
told her there's a thousand
timing,
realities to this. But
visibility of it. So the insurance company will come back with an apportionment.
thing going in her favor is when I was in my accident, someone going straight, even with a light, somebody going straight has the right of way over someone turning. She was going straight, and the other person was turning. The other person, now technically in a court of law, I would say the other person should have seen that you weren't slowing down and that you were coming fast. That's on them. That would be me as an attorney. That's what I would say, that it's their own fault for not being aware enough that somebody was coming 55 miles an hour and wasn't slowing down. You have to be aware of this. That's how I would play it in court if I was an attorney. But I mean, I don't think it's going to go to court. I'm just saying that would be how I think.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to act reasonably, and if you see someone going at 55 miles an hour, they're not slowing down,
You
and
don't
you
turn.
see that, yeah, you should yield and be careful to avoid the accident, even though
It's their fault.
it's not their fault, but I think they would apportion some liability. But there's such a thing called negligence per se. That means you violated a statute. So you are per se liable because what was it, a turning signal or something that she disregarded? So, her liability is up there.
Yes. And I told her insurance is going to go through the roof, and that's on her. And she's going to have to buy a new car.
Mm-hmm. She's lucky didn't get hurt.
Yeah, she's very lucky. Her passenger got hurt. He had a collapsed lung that I think it was an airbag. But I'm just saying, like, as an attorney, I told her best friend's mom, here's my insurance information card. She was like, no, I don't want this to come on you. I said, it's not going to come on me. She's on my insurance policy. This is going to be on her, not me. I got nothing. She's a licensed driver. She may be 16, but she's a licensed driver. This is on her.
You could sue the owner of the car, the driver, you sue everyone.
My brother was like, what do you mean they didn't give her a ticket? They didn't give her a ticket. I was like, can they give it to her when I go pick up the police report? They said no. They didn't give her one on the spot. They won't give it to her. No, there's no camera. We don't really have cameras around here. But it's a valuable lesson she learned.
So anything new on that story with the police department around your corner there?
No, nothing.
Nothing
said. Mm-mm.
I'm curious how that got overlooked. It was 2 weeks.
2 weeks that she sat in the van.
In the NYPD, we had Sunday morning, the highway safety officer was also in charge of the fleet. And before we turn out, Sunday mornings are not as busy. So they would assign everyone a vehicle to do a vehicle inspection every week. You check everything, the tires, the glass, the oil, just to see what the service of the vehicle is. Good condition, bad condition, poor condition. So I would imagine, they would do the same thing there. I don't see how they missed that.
They've been pretty hush-hush about it. The news hasn't reported any. They've been really quiet about it. Real quiet. And nobody's mentioned it.
Yeah. Because you have to account for all your equipment. You have to account for the vehicle. And inside police vehicles, they have all kinds of emergency equipment. You have to just, fill out the inventory of everything, make sure everything is serviceable and usable. So we do it once a week on Sunday mornings. This is 2 weeks, and it's right in their parking lot. It just seems odd. Heads are going to roll on this one.
I agree. I have another. I was going to ask you privately, and then I was actually going to call you today, and then she had the accident. I was with that all day. So I was covering another case. This guy, Jacob McCarty. I'm going to have I told his dad I was going to bring him on. I would love for you to be on it too.
Sure.
Son went missing, 14-year-old kid. There's some stuff that I'm not going to announce on a live that I'll tell you privately.
Yeah.
But his son went missing with the dog, and nobody could find him. It wasn't a big area of woods. They found him a week later. The dog was laying next to him, and he was dead. They were both dead. The dog and him were dead. And he was found by someone walking by. The police say there was no foul play. They believe it was a suicide. What 14-year-old is going to shoot the fucking dog before they kill himself and lay right next to him? And where did the police come up with there was no foul play? And the dad's dumbfounded. Like, the dad is still beside himself. I'm just glad the dad's not involved. And I told him, I said, do you want to come on and talk about it? And he said, absolutely, I'd love to. Like, where do cops come up with no foul play when you have a 14-year-old laying next to his dog, both dead? And they weren't there like a couple of days before that.
Well, I think there's a lot of investigation that needs to have been done. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but it was a gunshot that killed the dog and then him.
Yes. So
there's going to be blood spatter, from the, powder residue on his hand. That there's a lot of evidence that's consistent with that theory that they would be able to uncover to corroborate it. I don't think they would just say that.
Would they know that same day? Because they told the dad, and they reported it in the papers that night that they knew there was no foul play. They reported that in the paper. But all week they were saying that he met somebody. It was believed that he may have met someone online, that he was going to meet somebody online. And then all of a sudden when he was found, there's no foul play. Well, you've been saying for a week that there's more to it. And I was just wondering, like, where do police come up with no foul play? Gunshot residue is a good point.
Blood spatter, gunshot residue, that, they'll look at the entry and exit wounds to see if they're consistent. Is he right-handed, left-handed? There's a lot you look at. But to rule it out the first day without doing interviews to find out things like you're saying, that he met someone online and he's been in communication with, I don't think they would rule that out the first day. They
had the computer, they had the dad.
Even the gun, if they recovered the gun, you wanted fingerprints and DNA to make sure it was him that was holding the gun.
And I agree with that. And the dad is just dumbfounded. And I said, have you heard anything more? He's like, nothing. They believe it's suicide. Well, I don't know how you went. And the dad looked in the exact area him and the dog were found. And there was nothing there. It's not a large area. And
he looked the same day. I mean, this doesn't sound right.
Exactly.
That he was on the crime scene that day when they recovered the body. That's
no. Originally, when he went looking for his son, the day he went missing, he looked on this area, all in the woods. There was nothing there. And then boom, all of a sudden, a week later, someone's walking by and here's this dead kid and the dog and a dead dog. I can't comprehend a 14-year-old killing the dog. I just can't. And maybe that's me having a 14-year-old, but most 14-year-olds don't kill their dog and then kill themselves. I just found it very odd.
Yeah, there's a lot of forensics, though, that you can look at just to figure out, what happened, depending on the gun. I mean, the muzzle flash, if he put the gun right up to the dog's head, that there's a blast of gunpowder and in addition to the bullet. So you'll see that residue and burn on if it was a contact, firing versus, a distance away. There's a lot of forensics that you can recreate what happened. But I think, I don't know what kind of department this is, what resources they have. I mean, I've heard horror stories about these poor towns and, the cops are making $10 an hour and everything seems to be a suicide. 3 gunshots to the head is a suicide, like, okay.
Point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I just thought I don't know yet, Anastasia. It's been sitting at me since it happened because
I'd love to look at it. It sounds interesting.
It is. And it's just sad. Single dad. It's his only son, and had a series of not so nice women in his life. It's a small town in Indiana. And his son took the dog for a walk. His 14-year-old son, pride and joy, took his dog for a walk. And
how about the gun? Did the father recognize the gun? Is it a gun that they have in the household, or is it something he never saw before?
I don't know. That part I don't know. Some of the details I can't reveal yet, but I'll tell you privately. I'll tell you after the show. Jacob McCarty, McCarty. The night that I was going to interview the dad, they found his body.
Wow.
And dad called me and I had to cancel. I was putting it off a day because my son had football or something. And I called to cancel and he said, he's gone. I said, what do you mean he's gone? I said, they found him. And I was like, oh, wow. I said, I am so sorry.
That's another father burying his child.
Yep. And I thought to myself, and I said to some of the Patreons, I really hope that dad's not involved, because that happens a lot too. And I would, like here I'm talking to the dad and I hope, dad doesn't get arrested. They hit me up on Facebook. He's like, how are you? And I was like, oh, thank God, dad's not involved. Because so many parents are involved.
How did you meet him?
I actually, Chasing Truth is?
No.
She's another creator. It's a friend of mine, but she's another creator. She was covering, she did a video about it. And he reminded me so much of my son. And I was like, wow, this kid reminds me of my son. Like, it really reminds me of Dayton. And that's how it started. So I, contacted the dad and, I said, hey, I'm a YouTube creator. I'd love to interview you, get your son's name out there. Because the son was a gamer. And I was like, we need to hit the gaming community. We need to find him. Gaming community can be huge. And, get gamers on TikTok. And he played League of Legends, which is a huge million player. It's like as big as Fortnite. So I said, we got to get in there, and I contacted the dad and we started talking and that's how it all came to pass. And I've been in touch with the dad ever since. But, it's still in the back of my mind. I thought, what if the dad's involved? What if I'm being played? What if you never know?
Well, why would he be bringing attention to a murder he committed?
Well, you believe me, I've seen it on. You ever watch these news presses of some of these parents that kill their babies that go live and say, "Oh my, look at Susan Smith, she drew attention."
Wow.
I mean,
he's complaining that they found no foul play and they closed the case.
Now I know, but I'm saying that when they first found the body, my first thought was, I hope the father's not involved,
Yeah.
So, because you just never know these days.
Yeah.
So, all right, but don't go anywhere though. But I'm gonna shut down, guys. I want to thank you guys for the super chats. I want to thank you guys for another great conversation, and you guys were awesome. And I know I saw a bunch of PayPal, so I want to thank you guys. Don't forget buy candles. And that's it. So I'll see you guys later. Dayton goes to space camp in 6 days. He's so excited. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And Lindsay, thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good night.
Hold on. You don't leave yet. Oh, I have to shut it down. All right. I'll call you.
Okay.
I'm going to call you. All right, bye.
All right. Bye. Mm-hmm.